Let's jump right into a profoundly impactful piece of history today. We're going to examine a 1966 cold case that didn't just break a family's heart. It fundamentally, permanently altered the very fabric of Australian society. It's a story centered entirely around the enduring mystery behind three young children whose sudden absence literally changed a nation. To really wrap our heads around the sheer weight of this mystery, we first need to transport ourselves back to 1960s Australia. This was an era defined by a deep, unspoken sense of community trust. Neighborhoods were basically viewed as perfectly safe extensions of the family home. And the catalyst for this monumental cultural shift? It was something remarkably ordinary. Just a short, routine bus ride to a local beach. Section 1. Australia Day, 1966. Picture this. It's January 26th, a major national holiday, right in the middle of a sweltering summer heat wave. Glenelg Beach, which is this highly popular summer spot just a quick trip from the suburb of Somerton Park in Adelaide, was absolutely bustling with local families trying to beat the heat. And right at the center of our explainer are the three Beaumont children. We have Jane, the oldest at 9 years old, Arnna, who's 7, and little Grant, just 4 years old. They lived in Somerton Park with their parents, Jim, a driver, and Nancy. By all accounts, they were a completely typical family just enjoying a summer holiday, entirely unaware that the mystery behind these three children would soon captivate and honestly haunt the nation for over half a century. Now, it's absolutely vital to put ourselves in the mindset of the time. If you sent a 9, 7, and 4-year-old to the beach alone today, well, that would definitely raise some eyebrows, right? But in 1966, this kind of independence was incredibly normal. It was actually expected. It was completely unremarkable for Australian parents to let kids this age travel to the beach unsupervised. The neighborhood was safe, the bus trip was short, and community watchfulness was just an unspoken given. Section 2. Timeline of the disappearance. So, the day actually starts off completely predictably. Around 9:45 a.m., the kids leave home and catch the bus to Glenelg Beach. And through witness accounts, we know for sure they made it there. In fact, several people reported seeing the children playing in the water and on the sand that morning. But witnesses also noted something else. They were playing near a tall, slim man in his 30s with short blonde hair. What's crucial to understand here is that the interaction appeared completely relaxed and voluntary. Witnesses said the children didn't seem distressed or forced to be near him at all. Then, a bit later, between 11:15 and 11:30 a.m., they were spotted visiting a local bakery to buy some food. But here is where things get genuinely perplexing. A £1 note. During that bakery visit, the children paid for their food with a £1 note. Now, on the surface, a kid buying a snack at the beach is perfectly ordinary. But in the context of this investigation, this single piece of currency became one of the most baffling pieces of evidence in the entire case. Which brings us to the ultimate question. Where on earth did that money come from? When the police later interviewed the parents, Nancy Beaumont was absolutely definitive. She stated she had not given her children a £1 note that morning. This seemingly tiny discrepancy exploded into a massive focal point for investigators. Who gave them that money? Was it the tall blonde man from the beach? Because after this bakery visit, Jane, Arnna, and Grant were never confirmed to be seen again. Section 3. The massive search effort. The parents fully expected the kids home by early afternoon, around 2 p.m. When that time came and went, Nancy obviously grew increasingly frantic. Jim got back from work, and together they rushed down to the beach to search. When they couldn't find them, they made the harrowing decision to call the police, which triggered an unprecedented response. The scale was just massive. Police forces were deployed, everyday volunteer citizens combed the area. They even brought in military personnel to search the beach, the dunes, the surrounding neighborhoods, the whole shebang. Yet despite this monumental effort, no physical trace of the children was ever recovered. No clothing, no towels, zero belongings. It was like they had simply vanished into thin air. Section 4. False leads and theories. Because there was a total lack of physical evidence, the case immediately exploded into a major national story. The media attention was absolutely intense, and in the ensuing frenzy, investigators were just bombarded with prominent but completely unverified leads. For example, later in 1966, a privately funded Dutch psychic named Gerard Croce claimed the children's remains were buried under a local brick factory building. So they excavated, and absolutely nothing was found. Then, in 1968, 2 full years after they vanished, the parents received letters claiming to be from Jane, trying to set up a reunion. Jim and Nancy actually went to the meeting spot, but no one showed up. The letters were later assessed as a cruel hoax. It's just heartbreaking, really, adding all this agonizing false hope to their grief. Of course, over the decades, police have naturally pursued a ton of persons of interest. For instance, investigators took a really hard look at a convicted killer who was known to be active in the area and who was known to watch children at Glenelg Beach around that time. However, discrepancies in age and physical description compared to the eyewitness accounts of that blonde man meant a connection just couldn't be made. And this starkly illustrates the central maddening frustration of the case. Despite looking at multiple suspects over half a century, no one has ever been definitively linked with hard evidence, resulting in 0 charges. Section 5. A nation changed forever. How the mystery behind these 3 children led to a loss of innocence. Before 1966, as we discussed, independent travel for young kids was incredibly common. But as news of the Beaumont children spread like wildfire, this practice saw a sharp, immediate decline nationwide. It was like a switch flipped overnight. Parents became significantly more cautious about letting their kids out of sight in public spaces. That comforting illusion of the perfectly safe neighborhood, it was totally shattered. In fact, Australian historians and social commentators continually return to this exact idea, describing the case as a definitive turning point. It wasn't just a crime, it was an event that actively altered public behavior. When you think about why this case matters historically, it literally marks the precise moment a society lost its innocence regarding the safety of its most vulnerable citizens. But, the search for answers has never truly stopped. Because the case remains officially unsolved, law enforcement periodically renews their efforts. Whenever there are new tips or advancements in forensic techniques, they get back out there. Various searches and excavations continued for decades, right up into the 2010s. Tragically, though, as of the most recent widely reported efforts, none of them have produced conclusive results. To really underline just how active and important this remains, the South Australian government has, at various points, offered a staggering reward of up to 1 million Australian dollars for information leading to a resolution. I mean, that massive figure perfectly represents the enduring commitment to finally solving the mystery behind the 3 children and bringing some semblance of closure to this whole tragedy. So as we wrap up this explainer, we're left staring at a question that just doesn't have an easy answer. How does a mystery half a century old still haunt an entire nation? Well, perhaps it's because the disappearance of Jane, Arnna, and Grant Beaumont taps into our deepest, most primal fears as a society. 3 innocent children caught a bus on a sunny morning and simply vanished from the face of the earth. And until those questions are finally answered, their absence is going to continue to echo through Australian history. Thanks for joining me today to learn about this truly profound case.